Hey, welcome back to Transformational Communication. I'm Dr. Jomo Thomas, pastor, counselor, educator, leadership consultant, and author of the upcoming book, Transformational Communication, letting the Spirit shape the way we speak. Today, we begin chapter one of the book. God is a communicating God. These lessons will also lay the foundation for the companionship study guide that accompanies the book and provide deeper opportunities for personal reflection, group discussion, and practical application. Let's continue on our journey together. What is the very first thing Scripture teaches us about God? Many people would say God creates, but before God creates, God speaks. Before there was light, God spoke. Before there was stars, God spoke. Before there was life, God spoke. Creation itself begins with communication. That means communication is not merely something God does. Communication reflects who God is. And because we are made in his image, the way we communicate matters far more than we often realize. If that captures your attention, I think this book is for you. Before we continue, let's return to the theme verse that guides this series, Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion, that may give grace to those who hear. Ephesians 4:29. Let's look at Genesis 1:3 in today's study. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Genesis 1:3 ESV. And then in John 1 and 1 reminds us, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Together, these passages reveal something profound. The God of Scripture is a communicating God. Many people begin their understanding of God with creation, and rightly so. But when we look closely at Genesis, we notice something important. Before there was light, God spoke. Before there was order, God spoke. Before there was life, God spoke. And again throughout Genesis chapter 1, we encounter the phrase, and God said. Creation begins with communication. That tells us something significant about God. Communication is not merely an activity of God. Communication reflects the very nature of God. God reveals himself through words. God creates through words. God redirects through words. God redeems through words. And ultimately, God reveals himself through Jesus Christ, whom John calls the Word. This means communication is not trivial. Communication is sacred. Words matter because they originate with God. As people created in God's image, we have been entrusted with one of God's most remarkable gifts, the ability to communicate. Our words may not create galaxies, but they create environments. Our words shape relationships. Our words shape marriages. Our words shape families. Our words shape churches. Our words shape organizations, and they shape cultures. Every conversation leaves something behind. Every conversation is creating something: trust or distrust, hope or discouragement, connection or division, belonging or isolation. This is why understanding God as a communicating God is so important. If communication reflects the nature, then our goal is not simply to become better communicators. Our goal is to become communicators who increasingly reflect his character. Throughout chapter one of the book, I explore how communication shapes identity, belonging, relationships, leadership, and culture. The implications are far greater than most of us realize. Here's a leadership insight. Great leaders create clarity. Let's let that sit for a second. Great leaders create clarity. Confused communication creates confused cultures. Healthy communication creates healthy environments. Whether we're leading a family, a ministry, a church, a nonprofit, or a business, our communication shapes culture from people's everyday experience, or shapes the culture people experience every day. Leadership and communication are inseparable. Every conversation is either strengthening trust or weakening it. Every message is shaping culture. In chapter one, God is a communicating God. We explore these ideas in a much greater depth, something you can go a little bit more into. We examine how God's communication shapes creation, identity, relationship, belonging, purpose, and community. If today's discussion captured your attention, I encourage you to spend more time with chapter one when the book becomes available, because we go much deeper into what it means to bear the image of the communicating God. Here's a question for you. If we are created in God's image, how might our communication better reflect his character? I want you to take some time this week to pray about that, to think about that. Here's a question. If we are created in God's image, how might our communication better reflect his character? Take some time this week and pray about that question. Pay attention to your conversations. Pay attention to your responses. Pay attention to your tone. Ask yourself, does my communication increasingly reflect the God I claim to follow? In our next episode, we'll explore one of the most powerful truths in this entire book. Words create worlds. We'll examine how communication shapes identity, culture, belonging, relationships, and the environments we create around us every day. You don't want to miss it. Let me say this to you. Thank you for joining me today. This lesson comes from chapter one of the upcoming book, Transformational Communication, letting the Spirit shape the way we speak. A companionship study guide is also being developed to help readers, churches, ministry teams, leadership groups, and couples and small groups engage these principles more intentionally. If today's lesson captured your attention, you'll definitely want to spend more time in chapter one when the book becomes available, because we explore these concepts in greater significant depth. Okay. Over the next several weeks, you'll receive an early preview of many of the ideas found in both the book and in the companionship study guide. So until next time, let's continue allowing the Spirit to shape the way we speak, listen, and relate to one another. God bless you.